Hi, boys and girls, and welcome to today's reading lesson. Today, we're going to be talking about retelling a story. Okay, so we did this a little bit last week, but we're going to do it again this week as well. All right, so before we get started and we talk about retelling again, I want to go over this week's sight word. So the first word is the word find. Now, everyone say it with me. Find. Great job. Now, this is the word down. Everyone say this word with me. Down. Good job. This is the word get. Everyone say it with me. Get. This is the word made. Everyone say it with me. Made. And last but not least, this is the word may. Everyone say it with me. May. Now, boys and girls, you know before we begin our lesson, we need to go over our I can statement. So our I can statement this week, you're going to go ahead and read it with me. I can retell stories, including key details. Okay, so we're talking about retelling. Don't forget about that retelling hand. So let's go over it together, okay? Remember that your thumb is the setting of the story. So where does the story take place? Your finger, your pointer finger, is the characters. So who are the characters in the story? Remember, characters aren't just people. They can be animals and they can also be objects, right? So like here we have Molly Lou Melon and we have someone from the Three Little Pigs and then the good egg, remember? So all of those could be characters. Then we have on this finger, this is the problem in the story. So what is that thing that's bad or something that happens that needs to be fixed or solved, okay? And then the events, okay? And remember the problem that's kind of like a lock. So if you have a lock that's closed and you can't open it, you don't have the key, you need to figure out a way to open it, right? The events of the story, you think of that as a roller coaster. So the beginning, you start. The middle is it, so that's the start, the bottom of the hill, you're going up the hill. The middle of the story is at the top or the peak, and then you go down to the bottom, and when you go down to the bottom, that's the end of the story. So that's beginning, middle, and end. Those are the events of the story. And then this finger over here is the solution of the story. So how is that problem solved? When you get that key and unlock it, it's solved, it's open, right? So that's the solution. And then this is the central message. We'll talk about this more at a later date. That's when the author teaches you something. So what's the lesson that you learned in the story? Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started with our story. Don't forget your retelling hand. Get that out, get that ready, and we're going to be talking about that as we read our story. So today's story is Lily's Purple Plastic Purse by Kevin Henkes. I love this book. It's fantastic. Lily loved school. She loved school. Absolutely. She loved the pointy pencils. She loved the squeaky chalk. And she loved the way her boots went clickety-clackety down that long, shining hallway. Lily loved the privacy of her very own desk. She loved the fish sticks and chocolate milk every Friday in the lunchroom. And most of all, she loved her teacher, Mr. Slinger. Mr. Slinger was as sharp as a tack. He wore artistic shirts. He wore glasses on a chain around his neck. And he wore a different colored tie for each day of the week. Wow, said Lily. That was just about all she could say. Wow. Instead of greeting students or good morning pupils, Mr. Slinger winked and said, howdy. He thought that desks and rows were old-fashioned and boring. Do you rodents think you can handle a semicircle? And he always provided the most tasty snacks. Things that were curly and crunchy and cheesy. I want to be a teacher when I grow up, said Lily. Me too, said her friends, Chester and Wilson and Victor. At home, Lily pretended to be Mr. Slinger. I am the teacher, she told her baby brother Julius. Listen up. Lily even wanted her own set of deluxe picture encyclopedias. What's with Lily? Asked her mother. I thought she wanted to be a surgeon or an ambulance driver or a diva, said her father. It must be because of her new teacher, Mr. Slinger, said her mother. Wow, said her father. That was just about all he could say. Wow. Whenever the students had free time, they were permitted to go to the light bulb lab in the back of the classroom. They expressed their ideas creatively through drawing and writing. Lily went often. She had a lot of ideas. She drew pictures of Mr. Slinger, and she wrote stories about him too. During sharing time, Lily showed her creations to the entire class. Wow, said Mr. Slinger. That was just about all he could say. Wow. Now, thinking about this story and thinking about our retelling hand. Where does the story take place? Where? That's your thumb. Where does the story take place? That's right. It takes place mostly at a school, right? It takes place at a school. Who are the characters in the story? Who are the characters in the story? Lily and Mr. Slinger, right? They're pretty much the main characters in the story. When Mr. Slinger had bus duty, Lily stood in the line even though she didn't ride the bus. Lily raised her hand more than anyone in the class, even if she didn't know the answer. Pick me, please. And she volunteered to stay after school to clap erasers. I want to be a teacher when I grow up, said Lily. Excellent choice, said Mr. Slinger. On Monday morning, Lily came to school especially happy. She had gone shopping with her Grammy over the weekend. Lily had a new pair of movie star sunglasses, complete with glittery diamonds and a chain like Mr. Slinger's. She had 3 shiny quarters. And best of all, she had a brand new purple plastic purse that played a jaunty tune when it was opened. Lily wanted to show everyone. Not now, said Mr. Slinger. Listen to our story. Lily had a hard time listening. Lily really wanted to show everyone. Not now, said Mr. Slinger. Let's be considerate of our classmates. Lily had a hard time being considerate. Lily really wanted to show everyone. Not now, said Mr. Slinger. Wait until recess or sharing time. But Lily could not wait. The glasses were so glittery, the quarters were so shiny, and the purse played such nice music. Not to mention how excellent it was for storing school supplies. Look, Lily whispered fiercely. Look, everyone, look what I've got. Everyone looked, including Mr. Slinger, who was not amused. I'll just keep your things at my desk until the end of the day, said Mr. Slinger. They'll be safe there, and then you can take them home. Oh. Lily's stomach lurched. She felt like crying. Her glasses were gone. Her quarters were gone. Her purple plastic purse was gone. Lily longed for her purse all morning. She was even too sad to eat her snack. Mr. Slinger served before recess. That afternoon, Lily went to the light bulb lab. She was still very sad. She thought and she thought and she thought, and then she became angry. She thought and she thought and she thought some more, and then she became furious. She thought and she thought and she thought a bit longer, and then she drew a picture of Mr. Slinger. Now, Thinking about the problem in the story. What is the problem in the story? That middle finger. What is that problem in the story? That's right. She couldn't wait and she showed friends her purse and she got it taken away. And now she's super, super angry. You might find out there's still a little bit of a problem, right? Big, fat, mean, Mr. Stealing teacher. Thief wanted by the FBI. P.S. I do not want to be a teacher when I grow up. Right before the last bell rang, Lily sneaked the drawing into Mr. Slinger's book bag. Uh-oh. When all the students were buttoned and zipped and snapped and tied and ready to go home, Mr. Slinger strolled over to Lily and gave her her purple plastic purse back. It's a beautiful purse, said Mr. Slinger. Your quarters are nice and jingly, and those glasses are absolutely fabulous. You may bring them back to school as long as you don't disturb the rest of the class. I do not want to be a teacher when I grow up, Lily said, as she marched out of the classroom. On the way home, Lily opened her purse. Her glasses and quarters were still inside. And so was a note from Mr. Slinger. It said, "Today was a difficult day. Tomorrow will be better." There was also a small bag of tasty snacks at the bottom of the purse. Lily's stomach lurched. She felt like crying, and she felt simply awful. So what's another part of the problem? So she lost her purse because she couldn't be considerate of her classmates. She wrote that really mean note to Mr. Slinger, right? And now she's realizing that he wrote her a really nice note and still gave her a snack. So how do you think she feels? She feels really awful, right? Really terrible because she was really mean to him. Lily ran all the way home and told her mother and her father everything. Instead of watching her favorite cartoons, Lily decided to sit in the uncooperative chair. I'll stay here a million years for Mr. Slinger. Why does everything always happen to me? 1051, 1052, 1099. That night, Lily drew a new picture of Mr. Slinger and wrote a story about him too. Lily was really, really sorry, so everyone forgave her, even her parents, even her stinky baby brother, even her especially incredible teacher. And then the sun shined its smiley face down on everyone and everything, even the bugs and the worms. The end. Listen up. I forgive everyone. I am really, 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 really sorry. Okay. Lily's mother wrote a note, and Lily's father baked some tasty snacks for Lily to take to school the next day. I think Mr. Slinger will understand, said Lily's mother. I know he will, said Lily's father. The next morning, Lily got to school early. These are for you, Lily said to Mr. Slinger, because I'm really, 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 really sorry. So what was the solution? She lost her purple plastic purse. She made that really nasty note for Mr. Slinger. Let's see. Mr. Slinger read the story, and he looked at the picture, and he sampled the snacks, and he read the note. Wow, said Mr. Slinger. That was just about all he could say. Wow. What do you think we should do about this? Asked Mr. Slinger. Could we just throw it away? Asked Lily. Excellent idea, said Mr. Slinger. During sharing time, Lily demonstrated the many uses and unique qualities of her purple plastic purse. her shiny quarters, and her glittery movie star sunglasses. It's like having an extra pocket with a radio inside. 3 quarters are even better than a dollar bill because they make noise. Glamorous protection from harmful rays. Then she did a little performance using them as props. It's called interpreted dance, said Lily. Mr. Slinger joined in. Wow, said the entire class. And that was just about all they could say. Wow. Throughout the rest of the day, Lily's purse and quarters and sunglasses were tucked safely inside her desk. She peeked at them often, but did not disturb a soul. So what was the solution to the problem? She wrote him an apology note, right, and a story. And then she shared her item at sharing time so she didn't interrupt the class and she didn't disturb anyone from their learning. Right before the last bell rang, Mr. Slinger served Lily snacks to everyone's delight. What do you want to do when you grow up? Asked Mr. Slinger. A teacher! Everyone responded. Lily's response was the loudest. Excellent choice, said Mr. Slinger. Sorry. As the pupils filed out of the classroom, Lily held her purple plastic purse close to her heart. Mr. Slinger was right. It had been a better day. Lily ran and skipped and hopped and flew all the way home. She was so happy, and she really did want to be a teacher when she grew up. That is, when she didn't want to be a dancer or a surgeon or an ambulance driver or a diva or a pilot or a hairdresser or a scuba diver. The end. Now that is the end of our story, Lily's Purple Plastic Purse. You will be doing a retelling activity kind of similar to what you did last week, where you're going to put the pictures in order and then you're going to record yourself retelling the story Lily's Purple Plastic Purse. Don't forget to use your retelling hand to help you when you are recording yourself. Thank you so much for joining me, boys and girls. Have a great day.